Yeah, where 7 go?
No, you ain't. You left.
Just left.
I'm glad you didn't, bro, because I damn sure had mine checked until you said something.
But he didn't disappear until niggas hit X. Well, option. And the game just started, bro. Oh, so that's what it is.
So I get through on this game, bro. I swear, from what I'm seeing it, man, is in my court, home is away and away is home, bro. Nah.
No, it's still in.
You the only one we don't see. Did y'all get a lot of shit?
They didn't even vote.
Yeah.
I think we missed the vote.
Y'all missed the what?
The vote. Who looks the best?
We got popcorn.
Y'all missed the vote?
Vote.
So what would happen if you want to vote?
Like they have to vote with Compton looks the best.
Yeah, I don't know if they did it.
Is that what you want? Out to the tree?
No. Yeah, she's right.
Okay.
Ken, if you want to, ain't charging that, baby.
Hey, babe.
I'm gonna put that thing on everything that I possibly could. What time is it?
Shit, man, I'm up 4:50.
And there goes
We backing out and going back in. Yeah, we all did. Man, my shit must be running slow as fuck.
Puppy monkey baby. I am the puppy.
I'm the monkey.
The baby
I even have an image of Puppy Monkey Baby.
You have a what?
My wallpaper is Puppy Monkey Baby.
But the baby
Wait, no, my
has to
wallpaper
be
is
baby.
Indians dancing with their underwear.
Who?
Indians dancing with their underwear.
What, Puppy Monkey Baby?
No! I searched up Indians. Well, I put up funny pics and it showed Indians dancing in their underwear. I have lots of them. I have a picture of you and I also have a picture of Daddy.
Jaya. Come here. Come here.
Ha! Can I come with you?
No, I'm not. When I was in 4th grade. Huh? What's your shoes? They little Where's what?
Ew.
Was one wait, DJ, don't get on the fire stick because I'm watching you.
Yeah.
But was 1 year ago when I was in 4th grade?
Yeah.
Mom says you can't get on the fire.
Not yet.
You work hard. What?
Hey, babe, you got your shoes on?
Come
this shit. You gonna get up, bro. Don't eat no. Did you put it to the dog off and then put it back in your? That's nasty as fuck, bro. No, my bad. You gotta start thinking, man. Oh, fuck. Yeah. 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 How the hell still shooting? Who?
We used to play with him. All right, there. I should have had my lockdown. No.
I don't know. I ain't look. He is a. Two-way rebounder.
Pure sharpshooter. We can stay man for now. Unless y'all want to. Whoa.
What the fuck? You on PG, bro. Ooh. Thanks. Hey, damn.
I should have shot that shit.
Yes,
My fault, y'all.
yes. Good shit, bro. Ah, fuck. Good
D.
shit, man. Hey, somebody in the corner, man. Damn.
I'm calling a timeout, bruh.
You just changed it.
D.
DJ, you're gonna be in big trouble. Tell DJ to come here. Come here, Buddha, real quick.
Also, I was just gonna say you ain't gonna dunk it.
Real quick, son. You wanna get your mask, Stinky? You wanna get your mask real quick? Okay. Come here. Where you going?
Oh, good D, man.
It's 5:07.
And they called the foul. How, bruh? How, bruh? He jumped in front of the nigga. He didn't even touch that man though, bruh.
Good shit.
Donuts on his lips. DJ, where'd you go? Are you listening?
Gotta steal that shit.
It's so hot. Dad, do you have the heat on? Huh?
No.
And that's still not a steal. Get the fuck out. Mine too, bruh.
And what kind of man you going, Tiz? Shit, good help, bro. Oh my God.
Damn.
But if you need to be getting your stuff together.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. Come on.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I don't know to go up or stay back.
North America. 6 and 6.
Hey, move back.
Motherfucker got to contest or get a steal, bro. They throwing it right through y'all, bro. Like, y'all ain't even reacting.
If you hug me. That was me. That was chicken.
Fuck. Way to ball up.
So when she gets ready, I can get you pictures and I can make a collage. Okay?
The dog of food. The dog of food.
And if you're one you don't want to charge, baby. Take some great pictures, boy.
Wait, stop your car. Oh.
Are you coming with?
Yeah. Wait, I'm doing some homework. Did you see I'm doing homework?
Have sea phase or that one.
Yay!
That one.
You said I going in the car. I know where I'm waiting.
And that one.
I know where I'm waiting. You class. I gotta go.
I love my shoes. That girl in the store, she said, "Oh, I love your shoes."
Man.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Just take some really good pictures.
Honey.
saying India hasn't hit up yet, has she?
Who?
Hasn't she?
What?
I said, did India hit up Ian?
No.
Oh, we want a man or zone.
No, she probably got out of work. Did he eat some more food while he was out there, Derek?
Ugly.
What shit did? Motherfucking D. Hey, don't get sensitive now, man, because Tom said something, man. Y'all niggas start talking, that motherfuckers quiet, man. What the fuck? Yeah, y'all heard 7, we're a team. Niggas.
Hey, Oh.
Ooh, you gotta stay on that side, boy. Good shit. Man, bro, fuck this game, bro.
Oh, good shit,
Fuck
too.
this game, bro.
That's our ball, man.
Bro, that's the slowest animation ever, bro.
That was slow as shit.
You don't even go up strong, you donkey, man.
Come on.
Oh, stay down. Good D, boy. Good D. It's good D, nigga. That's good D. You know that cheesy ass step back.
Then it has the tight one. This has the big, wide, pretty one.
Hey, chill out, bro.
You sure are you gonna eat your popcorn?
Where?
And that room?
It's up to y'all, man. Ain't no way he get to that ball before you, bro. But that's not a steal. 15. Bitch ass niggas out there. We got something.
I get a picture and one of the pictures.
Don't force it in there, bro. Can you cut that down?
Did I kiss it? Did I kiss it? Oh, let me do one more thing. Whoa, there's a massive
Little pudding pop pop. Little the pudding pop pop.
Wait, what did I see? What just freaking did?
What did him just do?
It is so funny. I read
It's like y'all gotta
that
want them niggas, boy.
that I did this.
What him do?
Oh, I just left it. Oh. Did I get it? You.
Probably make y'all some meat before we go. Some hot dogs or something. Wash your hands really good.
Beautiful. I just used it. Vessel,
That's slow. Man, just know I passed that motherfucker earlier than that, boy. Let's go, man.
Wait, did you?
Hell no. You put that shit in the playbook, boy.
Oh, did I kick it up, bro?
Don't let King's ring King beat you.
Oh. You okay?
I told you, get up.
Did it shock yourself? You look like you're shocked, Dinky. Dinky, dinky, dinky.
No, is Susan can help me? Susan can help me. Cookie. But if it don't work, oh, again, I got a spin.
Hey, cut that down, bro.
I've been so tall. Just try taking it all away.
Huh? Okay. 1 second.
Just. It feels better.
Does it feel better? I'm coming. I'm logging out and setting the phone on the charger now. That's a liability. Hold on, Vega.
Mom, you messed me up.
Yeah.
Driving on the highway, you scared me.
I did what? Sorry, son. Mommy didn't mean to scare him, cute.
Oh, Steph, can you want to put?
Okay. And
Oh.
All right, babe, I'm coming. I'm coming just now, D. I'm coming just now, D.
Oh. Oh, I don't know how he got that ball. Come on, man. time is it? Oh boy. What time is it? Check the phone.
5:33.
Okay. Is that it? Oh Lord.
Well, I'll play one more. It's up to y'all, man.
Yeah, we fell apart before the game started. That's what it seems like. Motherfuckers started damn arguing within the first 30 seconds, boy. I was like, well, but we hung in there. Oh,
Oh, we get these niggas right back.
oh my God, bro.
Wow.
It looked
Y'all
like they're
got
supposed to
this.
have only one.
Thank you, thanks. I'm gonna bite lazy. Uh-oh. Let's sprinkle more.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
did.
gonna go ahead and quit. Y'all got this.
Nothing. I could just smell it on mine, so I just let it sit.
Playmaking sharpshooter.
When did you get ready there?
I could,
A good morning.
my bad. That TV up, man?
Yep.
stay at the wing, man. 2 seconds. 1, 0.
1, 3, 1, 3.
Damn, get up, bro. Damn. God, you hard-headed as shit. Get up.
Good night.
Uh-huh.
Why are you eating my popcorn?
Food. I mean, PJ, don't eat him popcorn. Everybody.
We're not eating it.
Oh, man. I'm about to start talking, man. Look, man, I can tell you anybody who fuck I'm on, bro. Damn. This shit makes no fucking sense.
Mommy,
Hmm?
I bit the bullet.
You did what?
I bit
You want to bite?
the
Mommy down to bite?
bullet.
Say sure.
No, I said no. No, please don't. Mommy, what backward mean?
Huh?
What backward mean?
I don't know.
Daddy, what backward mean?
Oh.
The bear don't know. No.
Yeah. I see you held it just long enough so I wouldn't get the assist.
Oh, ain't that gold thing?
Come on, man.
That is.
Wow.
Shh. You is so who are you talking to?
Talking to you.
Who are you talking to? You're talking to nobody because you're talking to your daddy's son. Oh, in the things.
Oh my gosh.
What? You don't think that ball game?
No.
Huh? Might be not.
I know you not.
Nah, I'm trying to get the little muscle to play, man.
Oh, I need your popcorn. This is buffalo popcorn. Hey, Daddy, have one. Yeah. Hey, Cirky, have one. 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 Hey, Cirky.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to ball.
Right? Have one. Hey, Cirky, have one. Yep.
That's my side, but I couldn't get back in transition.
I don't need socks. It's
You gotta hear this song. You have to. Come here. Here, come on. Wait, kid, come on. You like it? It's gonna take you forever.
Well, somebody did. And it burned.
I can't keep playing with 2K. I try to forsake that shit, man.
Yeah, your shit is not charging. It's only that one though. Shut up.
No, I ain't about to shoot that shit right now, though. I ain't even touch that bit. I'm good, bro. That shit's a damn shame.
Play the game. Peace. One bag of your chips out of here.
It's fine. Excuse me.
My bad, man. My wife said the
I surely did. I said excuse me. I said excuse me, damn.
Daddy, you want number 7? I'll bet you that.
Something like that, I think. Yeah, if you had all your stuff on when you came home, you would have went trick or treating.
What?
Trick or treating.
I already got a lot of candy.
You back in man?
Yeah, but I like that song, dude. You too.
I don't give a fuck, bro. We are like, what? I ain't tripping on this shit. Oh, I really don't like this shit. Fuck out of here.
Mom,
Mm.
Henry, what are you making? Are you making something? Ew! Hot dog!
Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Just say mac.
Where are you? I need to pee. I need to pee. I don't want a cake after the bee comes. Captain under here.
When you become captain after the camp.
That's twice, bro.
Told y'all I've been working on that shit, man.
Oh man. Mm. Why would he wind up that slow? Oh,
Traveling ass.
that kind of stuff. You can have all that stuff all over your outfit.
He in the way.
Walking through it. You're not careful. You don't put your clothes on the floor.
Oh, I know how to make it that. Okay.
Can't do shit.
Yeah, so toss it over there, go pee, and then put it back on.
Nah, good. Yeah, pretty wait.
That was fun.
Isn't that fun? Alright, can you go pee and get off the floor?
I already
You
peed.
already peed? Okay. Well then put your, stop! Put it on! Put it on my refrigerator. That way you're out of the city.
Fuck is y'all listening to? Sort of remind me of that ball hopping we went to.
So,
Oh shit! All I did was hit X.
what you hit right there?
That damn squirrel. Well, I was trying to leave because Mary was in the corner.
DJ, did you get your costume back on?
Oh, fuck yeah. Shit. Damn, man, I'm like 4.1 away.
I holler at y'all niggas in the morning, man.
Already, man. Hey, man, we need a new point guard, bro. For real. You killing me, bro. He's killing me, man. What's his name? Tizzy, bro. It is, man. I don't know, it's just like I said, it ain't, I can drive the wheel, bro, but hell, dog, I can be open, man, and he would not give me the ball for shit, bro. And I'm like, I can see if I shoot around 40-something%, but for my career, I shoot damn near 74%. So I'm like, I'm not understanding the logic, bro. I'm not getting it. Oh yeah, he gonna take that. That's why on fast break and he down there, he get the ball. I don't. Most of the time, I just stop. Yeah, but that shit, dog, man, it be killing me, man. It's like, damn, why not take advantage of mismatches, man? If you can't stop me on the slash, on cuts, backdoor cuts, you know what I'm saying? Give me the ball. Like I said, I tell them all the time. So, dude, you'd be surprised how many games I start out 0-4 and finish the game 8 for 12. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the reason why I shoot so high. And it's like, damn, you can't even take an advantage. You know, like, bro, you got to know your mismatches, man. Like, this is the worst I've ever shot, and this 66%, that's still damn good. But not ever, man. I think it's the second worst I've started off. But hell, man.
Hey, you're gonna have to wrap that up because you gotta walk the dog.
I know I'm just talking, man.
And you gotta get your outfit together.
But anyway, bro.
Are they already there?
I'll get at you, man.
We're supposed to be getting to that.
All right.
Daddy, when were you playing Fortnite?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna let y'all play that shit one day. It don't seem like a game. I never played it.
Thank you.
Do you work until night?
What?
Do you work until night?
What are you talking about?
Tomorrow.
Just realized I've
Hey,
completely
look it
forgotten
up.
something
Cut it off.
very
Early in the morning.
important.
And then,
Yes.
Where are we going?
How are you gonna dress?
All by my legs.
So I said tomorrow night or Thursday.
Oh, I've watched this.
Welcome home,
Visual bag.
Mrs. Stewart.
I just want a nice
Yeah, I didn't get to finish it either.
Ah,
Sorry.
what'd you move for? Go watch my son now.
Was this?
So I think I'm getting one plate and
Never
sit
slept in
still.
this room before. Thought it'd be good to switch things up.
You got food to be wasted like that, yo.
Ah,
Here, dog, more
so
meat.
good to be
No, you can
here.
rinse my thing first, please.
I'm fine. You read anything invented after 1940? Planes are older than that. We need to brush up on history. I decided I'm glad we came back to the States.
Late.
Me too.
No one's eating all of that.
That's what I wanted to do. But you made a mess of it and put it on the way.
I love you, Tom. I love you.
Yeah, they're so country. Man, they made a song about butt.
Excuse me.
What the world? Why would you make a song about butt?
It was like,
it's
like,
Come on.
I like big butts that I can make laugh. The other ones don't get me.
Pull it up, Jack.
Don't keep your face. You look like you scared.
What are you talking about?
Bills you do.
You need to go.
But they know how to swim.
Man, I thought that dude wasn't gonna go that high.
Alright, go in the kitchen, grab your plate.
Uh.
Go in the kitchen, grab your plate. Not
You
the salad. Go in the kitchen, grab your plate.
pop.
Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come in it.
I never will.
I sure about that. Don't do that. Don't put that stuff on my
Don't do
ninja.
this.
I just let you go. Hot.
William, wanna go for a walk? Come on. Hey,
But no.
sit yourself.
Sit down. You don't see that food right here?
There's more for this?
Hello. Hi. Can I help you with anything, dear?
No, I'm alright. Thanks.
Are you staying here in town?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Where are you staying?
My husband and I live on Chestnut Street.
Oh,
Why
what
would you
a
tell?
beautiful street. I didn't know anybody had moved to Chestnut.
No, it's my husband's house, but he's been overseas the last few years.
The Blake House? Are you married to Tom Stewart?
Yes. Do you know Tom?
Blake
Right
House?
in your mouth.
Oh, my dear.
Feel like you got some sense. And every time you go up there, you stop shoving that food in your mouth, too.
You missed me at work. You farted.
doing? Yes. I've been taking care of the house. Sorry, I wasn't expecting anyone. Oh, I think Sounders mentioned something. Are you Mrs. Menaby? Menabar. Sorry, Mrs. Menabar. I'm Eve. Mrs. Stewart's a little bit formal for me. I don't know that there's much to do. The house is already so clean. Of course, you cleaned it. Well, I've never had a housekeeper before, Mrs. Menabar, so I'm not really sure.
Well, shall I help you with your groceries?
Sure.
Get dinner started.
Thanks. That'd be great. I bought a chicken to roast with some potatoes, and I'm gonna make an apple pie for dessert.
Sounds tantalizing.
Perfect.
Enjoy your evening.
Don't you want to say hello to Tom?
Another time.
Probably with your hand. Cut the plate.
Tom, finally. I missed you.
Missed you too.
Come here.
Where's my boy? Where's Paul?
I don't know. I think he's wandering around the house. What do you think? Doesn't it look nice?
No.
Tom?
That's one of y'all was done. You have to have
Did you have a nice day? Chicken's delicious. Evie, I'm sorry. I've had a really long day. I wasn't expecting.
What? A nice dinner?
No. I didn't think it'd bother me. Coming into the house, seeing the dining room laid out with our wedding china.
Wedding china? Oh. Mrs. Menabar didn't mention that, or I would have never taken them.
Menabar?
Yeah.
She brought them out.
Yes, I told her I wanted something special for our first dinner. What?
Benny never liked me. I doubt it was a coincidence.
Tom, don't say that. She's been very nice to me. I'm sure she just wasn't thinking.
She's really been nice?
Yes, she has. Why?
She was so crazy about.
All I know is that sweet.
Well,
I just want you to eat it, please.
I'm glad she's been nice to you.
Huh?
Maybe she's mellowed.
Here, go ahead and finish it.
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
there's something I need to discuss with you.
What?
Well, I realize I've been gone too long. I really need to look more closely at our accounts. Sanders was right to call me back. They're a mess. We need to start streamlining, really rethink some of our investment strategies. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to have to be much more hands-on than I thought. I'll be going into the city every day during the week.
Oh.
At least for the first few weeks.
May y'all get that up, please? Hey.
Thank you.
Why are you just standing there?
Oh, up from here. Everyone. To cut off the, he was supposed to have to tell you something. That, tomorrow is mustache day. And I was wondering, mustache day.
Daddy,
Oh,
look
okay.
what
And I was
Meg
wondering
was
if,
baby.
It's okay. It was an accident. He
I
didn't
was
lose.
like an eyeshadow to make a, yeah, to make a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
So can I?
I'm pretty sure.
Ow!
You just have to remember not to rub it off.
That hurt. I I tried to sling this, and this came backwards and hit my ear. Pick up that. Don't just put it on the floor. What? We were like, came off your mouth. I don't see it. Right there.
Oh no. That did not come off.
Yes, that did.
No, it didn't. I just swallowed it.
Hush. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up, bro. I said hush. I said hush.
Oh, you clean the TV out because we about to go.
Girl who's growing up so fast. Goldfish crackers, the snack that smiles back.
Over a year ago, I was diagnosed with advanced non-small
trade at 3:55 p.m., which was 5 minutes before the trade deadline, but the Browns had to brown. According to reports, the Browns were so busy celebrating the trade, they failed to call and actually accept the Bengals offer. Per Schefter, the Browns notified their acceptance of the trade moments too late. They tried to argue that the trade should be allowed, and the NFL said nah. By the way, they were going to give up a second and third round pick. Cleveland, I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Why?
I got nothing.
Why must the Browns brown so brown? Why can't you brown a little bit lighter? Why? This is the dumbest thing I've ever
What,
heard.
can they go from brown to tan? Is that what you're saying?
So it's okay. So you
I mean,
might
the
have
Wi-Fi not work? Like, what happened?
Were you trying to fax it? Smoke signaling it. Smoke, y'all from the highest mountain. So you just don't want a quarterback. They don't want one. They don't want one. Carson Wentz might be the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson might go to the Hall of Fame. And he might be he's probably the rookie of the year. You passed on both of them. You got your quarterback, and you miss him allegedly. Please don't let this be true. You miss him because he's celebrating. You're celebrating, and you're like, oh, I thought you were calling. Oh no, you're supposed to call.
It's like when a wide receiver drops a pass thinking about already scoring.
You're
right?
talking about can't get right. I'm so angry. I'm not even a Browns fan, but I want better for them. I really want better for them.
They need to want better for themselves. So here's the thing.
You want to get a division rival to trade you a quarterback.
I know. Meanwhile, if you AJ McCarron, right now you're like,
There got to be more to the story.
You refuse to believe that the Browns have done this.
There's got to be more to the story.
This is the most Brown story
That's why I can't, and that's why how brown can you get? What else can Brown do for us as it relates to fodder, to clown? Like I told you before, forget the jersey with all the guys that did play. Show me the jersey of all the guys that should have played for the Browns. Whether that's Ben Roethlisberger or Carson Wentz.
If I were a Cleveland Brown fan, instead of having those names in the quarterback graveyard, they just need to put, missed trade deadline, 3:55.
This frustrated me. I'm terribly vexed. This frustrated me to no end. I can't believe it.
But believe it, and that's what happened. So, unfortunately, Cleveland, you still don't have a quarterback. And you know what's so messed up? It's like we both like Hugh Jackson. We both like Sashi Brown. You go back with him.
That's why I'm angry.
That's why it's just like, what are you guys doing?
It's got to be something else.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
Somebody needs to screen a call.
We're just a little more than a half hour or so away from the unveiling of the college football playoff rankings right here on ESPN. I put Oklahoma in my top 4 because of the Sooners win over Old State, but will the college football playoff committee do the same? That's next on the 6.
In Game 2 of the World Series, Cameron Maven stole a base and gave all of America something to cheer about. Free tacos. So run into Taco Bell Wednesday, November 1st from 2 to 6 p.m. to score your free Doritos Locos tacos. Steal a base, steal a taco. Only at Taco Bell.
You shine like a star.
Blue Moon is a well-crafted Belgian-style wheat beer brewed with Valencia orange peel for a refreshing taste that shines brighter. Blue Moon.
You made that?
What did you say to that?
Who's this?
This year, give them a magical experience they'll never forget. For memories that last a lifetime, give the gift of Disney Vacations. Can I give it to you straight? That airline credit card you have, it could be better. It's time to shake things up. With the Capital One Venture card, you get double miles on everything you buy, not just airline purchases. Seriously, think of all the things you buy. Great. Is this why you asked me to coffee? Well, yeah, but also to catch up. What's in your wallet?
We thought we knew what war would be like, but nothing prepared us for this. They're after Jews.
It's all been leading to this. Let's move.
Rated mature.
Breakfast has come out of its shell. Crisp bacon, seasoned potatoes, and cheddar cheese, all wrapped in a fried egg. The new Naked Egg Taco, only at Taco Bell. Introducing next level innovation. Redesigned, reimagined, new, used,
certified pre-owned.
Ford, Toyota,
Subaru, Volkswagen,
GM's featuring
backup camera,
EcoBoost,
All-wheel drive.
low miles, park assist, sport mode,
for wherever you go. For drivers
everywhere. For the driven.
Shop all the cars all in one place. Auto Trader. If you can't find your next car here, you won't find it anywhere.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel for a taste that shines brighter.
On November 3rd. Look who it is! I took it off this planet. Biggest muscle in the body. Or Ragnarok at PG-13 November.
As a Marine serving in Afghanistan, I conducted logistics patrols in some of the world's most dangerous places. When I came home, I was ready for a new mission. The Sport Clips Help a Hero Scholarship is helping me get a degree in electrical engineering. If you want to help a veteran, donate at any participating Sport Clips location. And on Veterans Day, they'll give $1 to the program for every haircut. My name is Jacob Dietz, United States Marine, and I'm saluting you.
By the time that we got up there, his room was filled with smoke.
The wind had blown and drifted the snow up against the side of my house, blocking the exhaust from my furnace. I heard the smoke alarm going off in my friend's apartment.
Without the kid smoke alarm, my son would not be here today.
Had it not been for that carbon monoxide detector, they would come to school and not have their teacher there. I grabbed my fire extinguisher and put out the fire.
Get these essential products at Walmart. You gotta have some sense to count that. I mean, you talk about head-to-head, they beat Penn State, and both of them are still ranked higher than us, I think. But it's just, I don't understand it.
All right, that was Baker Mayfield seeming perplexed as to why Ohio State might be ranked ahead of them, even though they beat them earlier this season. Kirk Herbstreit seems to agree, because in your top four, you also have OSU ahead of them. I don't know how you did it, because they actually played.
You must think they're just a better team, and the tiebreaker of head-to-head doesn't matter, right?
Well, I think for me, there's more than just the one game. Oklahoma deserves a lot of credit. To me, I call that their trump card as we continue to go down the road. But, Jamel, the one thing for me, if you watched Oklahoma play from the Ohio State game on, they played the next week and looked great. But since then, it's been a really rocky road against inferior competition. They went on the road against a winless Baylor team. It didn't look great. They lost to Iowa State. They had to pull out a victory against Kansas State on the road, who's a 4-4 team. So my point here is we sit here at Halloween even though they beat Ohio State, that as I said, down the road could come into play. If they take care of business, and you look at what's ahead of their schedule starting this weekend with Oklahoma State, they still have TCU, potentially a Big 12 championship game. If they win all of those, and it comes down to Ohio State and Oklahoma, then I think they pull that trump card out and say, bang, we beat Ohio State head-to-head in Columbus. But because they've just been very erratic and very inconsistent, especially on defense, I just don't think right now. Look, the AP, they're 9. The coaches poll has them 8. So it's not as if people are going out on a limb having Ohio State right now ahead of Oklahoma.
That might be their ace of spades, but...
or Big Joker?
Well, no, I was about to say, the committee will still pull out the Big Joker and say, no, we view Ohio State as a better team. See Ohio State, Penn State last year. Even though Oklahoma could have a better or have a really good body of work and that head-to-head win, the committee may just still see them simply as a better team, to your point, since they last played. All right, so your top 6 are Bama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State. I still got Clemson in my top 4 because I think they have the best excuse. Maybe the worst loss, but the best excuse is in Kelly Bryant's injury. And then you got Oklahoma 6. We know that we've seen teams come from outside the initial rankings and make the playoffs. So who right now that we assume is going to be on the outside looking in tonight, do you look at it and say, when it's all said and done, that team can crack the top 4?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael, because you're right. And we've had these playoffs now for 3 years, and 2 of the 3 years we've had teams come out. At Ohio State came back. I think they were number 16 when the first rankings came out. Went all the way to win it. Oklahoma in 15, exactly.
And
so when you look out there at a team that's kind of off the grid, I guess you have to almost look at the Pac-12 and maybe a Washington or a Stanford who still has some good competition ahead of them. Clearly, they're going to have to win out and hope for some help to be able to get back in the discussion. But I would have to say it'd be Washington or Stanford. Let me throw you guys a curveball here, because this to me is the potential chaos that a lot of people like to hope for. Everybody wants to talk scenarios. My craziest scenario is this, and it's not that far-fetched. What if Notre Dame wins out? Their only loss would be to Georgia by 1 point. They're sitting there at 11-1. They still have Miami on the road, Stanford on the road. What if they win out? Think about if you have Georgia playing Alabama. Let's say Georgia ends up winning out and losing to Alabama in a very close game. Alabama's undefeated. Alabama's obviously in.
Yep.
Notre Dame, in my opinion, if they're 11-1, they're in.
Yep.
How can we decline Georgia if their only loss is in a bonus round game against Alabama that they lose by a field goal or whatever, a close game they lose at the end? I think Georgia would get in because it's all about putting the top 4 teams in. So you could potentially have Alabama and Georgia and Notre Dame all in. Who in the world is that 4th team? Is it Clemson, Michael, like you said? Ohio State? Is it the Big 12? Is it the Pac-12? I mean, it is potentially a lot of chaos coming up down the road.
Because only in the SEC do the wins and losses count the same. But that's an argument for another day.
Thanks for the preview. Can't wait to hear what you and the fellas and what you guys have to say at the top of the hour. Okay, thank you. Up next on ESPN, again, 7 Eastern, the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings.
All right, now on to the pros. The judge has already denied the NFL Players Association emergency motion for an injunction on behalf of Ezekiel Elliott. That was just their latest effort to fight his 6-game suspension over domestic violence allegations. Elliott did not attend team meetings on Tuesday. He can still appeal, but if his suspension goes into effect, he will not be eligible to play until Dallas's December 17th game against the Raiders. Here's Jerry Jones on the legal level.
2 years ago, this was an issue before Ray Rice. I believe this would have been an issue because the commissioner shows where he really wants to come down when he did Ray Rice. Sure, he'd like to take back his initial Ray Rice and a few others, and he's in the process of having tried to correct that, and in doing so, Zeke is a victim of an overcorrection. If we have a player or we have somebody guilty of domestic violence, they shouldn't play. But this is not the case. He's not. In our society, he's not.
I think you and I from Jump Street had that. Okay, we both said the same thing. So there's no need in going over his guilt or innocence right now. What he is not is eligible. He is suspended. 1 minute he's not. Now he is suspended right now. So bottom line, are the Cowboys done without Ezekiel Elliott for the next 6 games?
Yeah, I know it's a temptation because you hear when people, whenever they discuss the Cowboys and their offensive line, they make it seem like anybody can just do what Ezekiel Elliott.
Garrett says the runner matters.
No, it does. It definitely matters. And you can see the drop in production with that same offensive line with the other running backs that the Cowboys have. Look, given where they stand right now, what the Eagles are doing, this is going to ruin. This is the end of their season. You know, I mean, this is it, because right now where they seem to have kind of gelled a little bit, they've kind of gotten back to form that we saw that they were in last season.
Anything can happen, but look at that schedule, Jamel.
It's tough. I mean, you know, as I mentioned, the Eagles, what they're doing, the Chiefs, I just don't see how they climb out of this if they don't have that guy there.
All right, so just look at the landscape of the NFC, right? Whoever's the king in the North, that's one. The Eagles should win the NFC East. Rams, Seahawks in the West. Saints, and I'll say the Falcons in the South. I haven't written off the Falcons. To the point about the runner mattering, and you saw this with your team firsthand 2 weeks ago. Ezekiel Elliott has rushed 29.5 times the last 2 games. So they're not even conducting themselves as a team that's got a committee. They have backups, but they don't have a committee. They are so dependent on him rushing and receiving down in and down out until their identity is taken away when he is suspended.
And they depend on him to close games.
That's what I'm saying. So it'd be one thing if they said, hey, we may be without him. Let's lean more on Alfred Morris or Rod Smith or Dan McFadden. No, they've been riding him. And how do you go from riding him to him being in the garage, suspended, and now you got to move forward? No disrespect to Dak or Dez, but I'm sorry, completely different team and not good enough to survive this NFC.
Be interesting to see where those Roger Goodell contract negotiations go now.
They say that it can't be done to become number one, a champion. Get straight to the top. I'm taking it, and just for the record, I'm breaking it. I did it when they say that it can't be done to become number one, a champion.
All right, Astros. Same 8 position players we've seen for most of the series, but they're using the same batting order they used in the first 2 games at Dodger Stadium. LA, meanwhile, Jock Peterson's in left, Logan Forsythe at second base. Both of those guys getting their 4th starts of the World Series. Carl Ravage, what you got?
Well, Michael, believe it or not, we have rain here in Dodger Stadium, something we're never accustomed to. We're also not really accustomed to playing World Series games on Halloween, so maybe there's something to that. And this is not your old man's World Series anymore. There's George Springer. He's 28. He's been hammering the ball for Houston, and now the weather conditions change, so maybe some of those home runs that he's been able to hit wouldn't necessarily fly out tonight. Then you get to the young kids. Bellinger is 22, 4 RBIs in that Game 5 loss. Felt like everybody had at least 1 RBI. He had 4 of them in that game. And then the other big 3 of Altuve, who's 27. He's the short guy there. Correa is the big guy with his arms around Bregman. They are both 23 years young. You're talking about veterans. I got 2 of them right here. David Ross, couple of World Series, and Mark Teixeira won 1 with the Yankees back in 2009. As for Justin Verlander, you could not have asked for a better script or scenario for that guy. And a minimum of 15 innings pitched, the best ERA in a potential series-clinching game, which obviously this is 0.46. Other guys on that list have all been great pitchers and have all delivered. All right, David and Mark, tell me what makes Verlander such a challenge, even though they just saw him a couple of days ago.
Well, from a catching standpoint, Justin Verlander has got a plan, and him and Brian McCann are going to work that plan. But his stuff is what's going to be the game changer. This guy's fastball, and I'm all about the fastball as a catcher and fastball command. He commands the top of the zone with his four-seamer better than anybody else. We heard Corey Seager talk earlier. It's as straight as a string, but it got some serious backspin action. And you know, as a hitter, Tex, when you got that ball climbing the top of the zone, it looks really good at your eyes, and you're sitting all over these fastballs and these fastball counts, and you know he's got that breaking ball and slider to go with it, but when you're able to command the top of the zone, it makes it really tough as a hitter.
It's a very tough fastball to hit as a hitter, and these pitchers that are up, we are taught to swing at the balls up in the zone. Every pitcher is throwing the ball down, 2-seamers down and away, breaking balls in the dirt. So we want the ball elevated up in the zone. The problem is Verlander's fastball up in the zone is so hard to hit. You can't lay off of it, but you can't hit it either.
It looks good right up there. The closer it gets to your eyes, we talk a lot. The closer it gets to the eyes, the better it looks. And that's really close up there at the top of the zone, but you're not hitting 95, 96 right up there.
Okay, it looks great, and then when it's in the catcher's glove, it looks awful. Like,
why not swing that?
For the Astros, and you guys have talked about it too on Baseball Tonight and now here on SportsCenter, the Dodger bullpen's a little beaten up. That's partly because of how they've been used. It's also because of that Astro offense, right?
Yeah, you can't beat up the Dodgers bullpen too much because you have to give credit where credit is due. And the Astros offense has been so good. I mean, we talk about Altuve and Correa and Bregman. Let's not forget about George Springer. with his 3 home runs and his OPS over 1,200 this World Series. They have so many weapons, it's just tough to pitch to this lineup.
At the bottom of that order, sometimes like guys like Brian McCann. I mean, he hit a homer the other night. You got those guys get going. Marvin Gonzalez, a big homer off the closer, Kelly Jansen. I mean, when those guys are producing and it feels like a different guy each night, that's a sign of a good team.
Focus on the team that's one win away from the World Series. Rich Hill will be on the mound. When asked about his stuff the other night, he felt really good about it. He has absolutely figured it couldn't have gotten much better, and yet he lasted only 4 innings. So that'll do it from here, from Dodger Stadium. Back the next hour to talk more about this critical series as you take a look at the Dodger Dogs. And we all set.
I'm going to get me one of those tonight.
Yeah, I'm on my way to get a Dodger Dog in just a second.
You haven't had one yet. Look out. Bad costume.
Look out.
Good costume. How about that look that David Ross brings to on Halloween? How about that look?
My son's going as a hot dog tonight.
Oh, really?
You know who doesn't? Doggy? Tom Brady. Wants to play till he's 45. We're going to look at the Garoppolo trade from the Patriots side when we come back.
Wendy's new chicken tenders are perfectly crispy and tender. And with a new side of salsa sauce, they're even better. So now the question is,
Two-tip or not two-tip?
for a limited time, try the new chicken tenders with fries and a drink for just $5. Only at Wendy's.
How does it make you feel to be looked up and down by some of the most powerful people?
Captain.
Dave.
Captain Dave.
Raz, where are you?
Guys, I'm trapped. My boss wants me here.
We're not leaving without you. Just go downstairs now.
Rapunzel.
Look for my CHR.
That was fun.
Wait till you see where we're going.
Introducing an all-new crossover. Toyota CHR. Toyota. Let's go places.
Back support. If you need it, you know it. Introducing CopperFit Back Pro for maximum lower back muscle support.
I played 20 years in the National Football League. No one took a beating like I did. As soon as I put on CopperFit, I could feel the support. This feels good.
Designed to provide everyday support and relief for lower back muscles.
I'll put it on and almost instantly it just makes it go away. It's like magic.
The support was amazing.
High performance compression fabric infused with powerful odor reducing copper.
Hey, I pushed this belt to the max.
Oh, no, you don't.
And it passed the test.
Once I put it on and wore it, then I saw the results. Call 1-800-618-7780 or on the web at copperfitback.com. For only $19.99, you'll receive one lightweight back belt form fit for your size and comfort. Order right now, and your shipping is free.
If you want the power to stay active, then you want CopperFit.
Experience the power of CopperFit Back.
Stay with me, Mr. Parker.
When a critical patient is far from the hospital must come to the patient.
Stay with me, Mr. Parker.
The AT&T network is helping first responders connect with medical teams in near real time. Stay with me, Mr. Parker. Saving time when it matters most.
Stay with me, Mrs. Parker.
That's the power of and.
Everyone knows at the Mark Jacobson Pre-Owned Supercenter, we say yes.
And that's why we're having a year-end sale. We always have up to 50 cars for under $10,000 or $200 a month, with a huge selection of Toyota certified used cars to choose from in the comfort of our indoor showroom. The year-end sale at the Mark Jacobson Pre-Owned Supercenter is going on now.
How'd I get this job? Oh yeah, by satisfying over 50,000 customers one at a time.
October is Cancer Awareness Month, and Performance BMW in Chapel Hill is donating $10 per car sold to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. With exceptional offers, you can have it all. The ultimate driving machine while you support cancer research.
The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society has one goal: a world without cancer. Join us to light the night on Saturday, October 28th at Carey's Booth Amphitheater when we walk Cancer Runs.
Performance promise, wow!
A Texas spokesperson says an orange prison jumpsuit Halloween costume worn by Jadeveon Clowney was not meant as a shot at owner Bob McNair. It should have been.
Right. And it was brilliant.
I mean, and if it worked, you didn't realize, like, you know what, man? I could have dressed like an inmate coming over this week.
Right. So he knew exactly what he was doing. Again,
you didn't say it. You didn't say
you
it.
have nothing to be. You have nothing to cover up about. I think that's a great idea.
Bring some levity to it.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the Dwayne Brown trade. I know he was a holdout, but man, some people that tackle he gave up maybe because he was talking.
All right. Ty Lue told reporters that the Cavs had an aired-out meeting,
Good.
the infamous team meeting, before today's practice. He wouldn't provide any further detail. They're 3-4, and they host the Pacers tomorrow night.
They're not just 3-4.
Too soon for a team meeting?
It's never too soon for a team meeting. Never. You know I like to meet.
3-4.
Just be talking. Just talking. I like it. There's nothing wrong with meeting. Let's meet. You see how they playing defense?
What do you have to air out after 7 games?
Clearly something. I told you the other day. It's a big deal. I'm like, look, they didn't win the championship last year. They have no reason to coast and live off of the euphoria of ending the championship curse in Cleveland. This is a new team for the most part. Yeah. They're not defending, and they're losing the teams in ways that they shouldn't. I'm not talking about like fluky. I'm talking about not playing defense. Exactly. Yeah. And those teams might be improved, like Orlando. But not playing defense. You said the Knicks?
I did.
Okay. Not playing defense and giving up threes? No, they should be, before it gets out of hand. They met last night at LeBron's for his annual Halloween party, and he may have outdone himself.
Pennywise?
I didn't see it.
I did see it.
Now, that's saying something about LeBron not outdo himself, because he was Prince a couple of years ago, and it was great.
That's what I was thinking of the Prince costume.
This is pretty good, though.
But this one is pretty good. And then it requires a level of commitment, because given what the makeup is.
But he's playing for second on his own team.
Uh-oh.
IT, my man Jason Mitchell from New Orleans, I love you. But IT could have been Easy E. Cruising down the street in my 6'4". I mean, he really, that's pretty, and then the key is the pose. That's the key. Man, that's pretty good.
Oh,
pretty good.
Okay.
It's the detail.
I know.
It's the
Compton head, the shag. He committed. You got to commit.
You got to go all the way.
You got to go all the way with that.
Much like Gabby and G. Wade do. And everything that they do.
Yeah. Now see, but this is what sets it off. They have the routine going.
Right. With the Grammys. With the Grammys.
Right.
It's a little with the Grammy. You got to get the Grammy that they got for lip syncing.
Just saying. That's tough competition right there on the cast.
Say it with me now. Relationship goals.
Right.
Those two, man.
You and the wife ever dressed up?
No, we haven't. No. What do you mean, for Halloween?
Michael, I don't need to hear all that. We have dressed up.
Are we not?
You and I have Empire 2 years ago.
That was great. That was awesome.
I still have that dress. I don't have the fur coat.
I think we can just live off of this. Y'all want to know why we ain't doing that this year? Because we can live it off of residual.
How can we do better than that?
Sipping a 40.
A real 40.
Last year. His and her.
You did a pretty good Lucius, though.
You make a pretty good cookie.
It just felt so bizarre, you know?
See, talking about commitment, emotion.
Shout out to L. Duncan. Meanwhile, Tom Brady, Giselle, avocado and toast.
No judgment.
No, I'm judging. I'm judging.
He's with Giselle.
No, I'm not
she wants to be avocado and toast, but you know, this is probably about his diet, isn't it? Is that what this is about? Is it another advertisement for his diet? Okay,
speaking of which, he is the cover person for the latest issue of ESPN, the magazine.
The self-liquor shame of arrest.
I know. And this, much like many of his pieces, is just as excellent. You mentioned the avocado and toast. Just one of many details that you can get from this piece about Brady's diet. I felt like I needed to be a scientist reading this.
Yeah.
He wakes up every morning, drinks 20 ounces of purified water, augmented with TB12 electrolytes. I don't even know what that is. and he sleeps in bioceramic recovery wear. I don't know what that
So
is.
now you see why they traded Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, that's to bring it full circle. Yeah, as you mentioned, they make the trade. Looks risky with a 40-year-old, and even as Seth wrote so eloquently, this is a 40-year-old that's trying to defy time in every possible way.
For multiple legacies.
Right, and look, I get it. Like he's a unique and special human being in terms of how he's taking care of his body. He's clearly committed to it. It feels risky. It feels risky to me to do this for somebody who's 40 years old. I know he said he will play till he's 45 or wants to. I don't think he will play till he's 45. Like, I don't.
When will you ever learn to doubt that man?
It's
to
not
to
about
doubt
him.
that man. I'm not talking about him.
Okay.
I'm talking about the coach. How many times have you questioned his personnel acumen only for it to work out in the end? If Belichick says it's time to flip this dude for a second, then it's time to flip it for a second, and they'll find another one. First of all, you've been trying to put Brady out the pasture. All of y'all came into the season talking about, oh, he's going to fall off, and he's getting to be for the first game of the season. You couldn't wait to say.
And people start saying it at the Super Bowl, too.
Well, exactly, before the second half. And against Kansas City, same thing. Does he look like somebody who's slowing down? I told you, I would put my money in a fight between him and Father Time on Tom Brady. And in the meantime, they can go and draft another quarterback. I mean, y'all thought he would be cold-blooded when it came to Brady. He was cold-blooded and calculated talking about Belichick when it came to Garoppolo.
Or maybe, as some conspiracy theorists may say, they look at what Brady, I think he's locked in until 2019, right? Maybe they go out together. Who knows?
Exactly.
And maybe it didn't matter. Jimmy Garoppolo, that's why you're in a win now mode, because they're just going to exhaust
he
his
always
contract
does
and
his
that'll
best
be
for the
it.
team and who gives you the best chance to win. So you're telling me that
No,
what
he
Jimmy
definitely
Garoppolo
does.
might be is giving you a better chance than what Brady still is right now, just because nobody's done it in the 45 doesn't mean he can't. It doesn't. So anyway, we are coming up on the first exclusive reveal, the college football playoff rankings at 7 Eastern, right here on ESPN. Go check in with our boy Mark Spears. But here's Reese Davis.
Better than king-size candy bars in your Halloween basket, the first college football playoff rankings unveiled coming up at the top of the hour. We haven't seen them. We'll see them when you do. Join us in just a little bit.
What's going on?
My TV company won't let me watch all my channels live on this, so I'm following the game this way. It's supposed to be the football. It doesn't even look like a football. I know. It's a tiny field. I hate tiny fields.
Try this.
That's the game. That's Dish. Didn't even know my voice could do that.
Dish lets you watch 100% of your live channels and sports anywhere on your favorite devices. Dish, tuned into you.
I can taste it. I can taste it.
Amy loves retweeting things online. So when she tried new Tostitos hint of jalapeno chips.
Tostitos are amazing.
Sarah says these Tostitos are amazing.
Thanks for sharing, Amy. Tostitos, bring the party. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she had to buy lots of groceries. While she was shopping for organic fruits and veggies, burglars broke into her shoe. They stole her kids' mountain bikes and tablets along with her new juice press. Luckily, the Geico Insurance Agency had helped her with homeowners insurance. She got full replacement on the stolen goods and started a mountain bike juice delivery service. Call Geico and see how affordable homeowners insurance can be.
We all depend on trucks.
Chevy trucks. We think it's because Chevrolets are
The most dependable
trucks.
built to last a long time. With durability and
Ruggedness.
I like the extra power.
Pulling power.
Maxi power.
And quality.
Seems they make them
Strong.
Extra strong.
Mile after
Mile after mile.
You've got to try Popeye's new $5 Smokehouse Boneless Wings. You get 6 wings, a side, and a biscuit.
That means it's good.
Hurry in for my new $5 Smokehouse Boneless Wings. Order your Cajun turkey today.
Here's the thing. It's really cool you guys seem ready to do battle. I've never done battle. Just push some people and run away.
Save one. Save one person. You'll know.
Justice League, rated PG-13. Experience in IMAX.
In preparation for man's journey to Mars, NASA requested applications for space travel candidates. It takes ambition, a can-do attitude, and a lot of moxie to be chosen for one of the most coveted positions in the universe. Runners-up, we invite you to apply to our management trainee program at 84 Lumber.
What if everyone believes they can get in? How do your wins stack up? What if your time is running out? The College Football Playoff Top 25 Ranking Show. Tonight at 7 on ESPN. Presented by Allstate.
So I just started my own business. So far, so good. But getting here wasn't easy. I had a to-do list a mile long and a lot of complicated decisions to make. So when it came to my internet and phone service, Spectrum Business was a no-brainer. I mean, they're the best. They've got the best price around and don't require a contract. Who wants to sign a contract when you're just getting going?
Don't settle for less than the best. Call Spectrum Business for faster internet, advanced voice, and no contracts.
My name is Vanessa, and I work for PSNC Energy, developing relationships with residential builders. I feel fortunate that my company and my coworkers are committed to making a difference in the lives of our customers. For 20 years, I've mentored high school seniors, many of whom are the first in their family to attend college. Helping kids realize their dreams is my purpose in life. That's how I'm making a difference.
The NFLPA has filed an appeal to the denial of an injunction in the Ezekiel Elliott case with the Second Circuit Court of Appeals.
I don't understand the people who say he should just take his medicine and take the suspension. Like, if he believes he's innocent, you got to exhaust every opportunity to fight this, don't you?
Yeah, you do. So he's filed to appeal like many people expected him to do. The NFLPA, by the way, they've requested a decision by 7 p.m. tomorrow.
All righty. Tonight at midnight on ESPN Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt, he'll break down Game 6 of this epic World Series. Plus, last year's MVP squares off against the Greek Freak, who's quickly starting the season in a way that's comparable only to Shaq. And reactions from tonight's first college football playoff rankings announcement. Also, we got the first leg of the Eastern Conference semifinals tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Save the Crew! The Columbus Crew squares off against NYCFC. You can also find it on the ESPN app. Keep the Crew in Columbus. Doggone it.
Drum roll, please. Time for your top 6. What are you going with?
I have Alabama, I have Georgia, I got Clemson at 3, Ohio State at 4, Notre Dame 5, Oklahoma 6.
Spears, why no Notre Dame?
You tripping, Spears, tripping.
Y'all, first of all, y'all look beautiful today, so beautiful. and second of all, look, I think Notre Dame is a very, very good football team. I think they're a little bit one-dimensional offensively, and the 4 teams that I put up top, I think could stop that vaunted run game. And then what do they go to? I've seen all 4 teams that I have in front of them operate on a dual level, which is what I'm looking forward to. I look at these defensive lines for the first 4 teams that I have. They would give, to me, in my opinion, all Notre Dame can handle trying to get this run game off. So that factored into my decision, but I gave them 5. They're right there on the heels of.
I hear you. Hey, Spears, real quick before we let you go, you cover the SEC very closely. Is there a case to be made for Georgia over Alabama at 1, given the level of competition or caliber of competition that the Bulldogs have faced, as opposed to Alabama, which may pass the eye test, but hasn't faced exactly an impressive level of opponent?
Oh, no doubt, Mike. There's an argument for Georgia. They play more ranked teams. Obviously, they got the big win against Notre Dame. So the committee is going to have a head scratcher there. You know, everybody
Notre Dame
likes
who you don't respect. Gotcha.
That's right. Okay. All right. But everybody is going to give Alabama the benefit of the doubt, usually because we know what they are to be. That's when the eye test compared to the strength of schedule comes into play. But this is a scenario for y'all. If Notre Dame is in the top 4 and you have Georgia at either 1 or 2, you're telling Georgia that you've set a precedent that if Georgia gets to that SEC championship game and they lose to Alabama, Who are you going to drop? Then is it head-to-head or is it strength of schedule with what Notre Dame has coming down to the end? The committee is in a peculiar position because now you're talking about two teams that have played each other, and if one loses in the SEC championship and drops out, it will be a firestorm, boss.
All right, man. But, you know, we've been there before. 7 of the 12 in the initial rankings did not make the playoffs. So all that will play itself out. Appreciate you joining us, Playboy. All right, see y'all. Speaking of Playboys.
A-Rod, he told Vanity Fair that on his first date with J-Lo, he went to the bathroom during dinner and texted her, "You look sexy AF." Then the fire alarm went off, and they had to evacuate the restaurant.
It worked, didn't it?
See, this is why I hate this, is because, regular dudes that don't have hundreds of millions of dollars think that, that's cute.
It is. Did he get her or not? Are they in Vanity Fair all hugged up and whatnot? Is he not on Fox's broadcast?
Yeah, he's grabbing a lot of meat in that Vanity Fair.
Corey Cole, they had a good day.
I have something nice to say about the Knicks. Kristaps Porzingis had a career high 38 in a win over the Nuggets. He's the first player in Knicks history with 5 30-point games in the team's first 6. Look at that.
All right, I'll tell you, it's about to be a good night because in the association, we get Russell Westbrook and the Thunder in Milwaukee to take on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. Giannis averaging a leading 34.7 points, 10.7 rebounds, 5.5 assists per game. I mean, they're going to put on the show.
So we should plan on having highlights of Giannis tomorrow because, that's your MVP.
I built the bandwagon. I built this. Who put this together? That's it for the 6. Sports Center continues on ESPN News. The first college football playoff rankings revealed right now. Or in a few minutes.
College Football Playoff Top 25 is presented by Allstate.
9 weeks of games, data points, the committee types like to call them. Unexpected wins, inexplicable losses, wins that appear to be the cornerstones of resumes that have crumbled into nothing, and losses that appeared to be disqualifying suddenly don't seem so bad. So what now? Well, that's up to 13 people, at least for 1 week, to sort it all out. The first College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings are on the way. We'll see them when you do.
A season takes its shape before our eyes. What are we seeing? What does it mean? We've seen plenty already, but not nearly enough. Where you win, when you lose, how you play, who you beat. From the unranked and overlooked, to the overwhelming and almighty, to the surprising and the expected. Where are we? Behind locked doors, the committee weighs it all. Resumes are evaluated. Decisions are made. Who will be rewarded? Who will be exposed? Who will be in vogue, involved, invited? Who will be in?
First week of meetings, and this is the symbolic gesture. When committee members go into the room, they check their hats at the door. Even Gene Smith has to check his hat there, that Ohio State lid that is inside the selection committee room. You know that hat rack? Jeff Long, the former committee chair who's still a member, had that handcrafted in Arkansas just for that special occasion. It's just a little tidbits of information.
That's why you're the host of the show.
They have a lot of money, boy, I'll tell you that.
Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, Booger McFarland, and Joey Galloway. Kirk Herbstreit and many, many others going to join us in a bit. Paul Feinbaum will be here, Kirby Hocutt, Chris Fowler, all kinds of people with their reaction to these first rankings. What's your biggest question?
I just want to see what they do with Oklahoma and Ohio State. Now, I know it's midseason, and I know it doesn't actually matter because as we move forward, Oklahoma's schedule with Oklahoma State, TCU, and possibly a Big 12 championship will change their resume. But just right off the bat, let's just see how important that head-to-head is. What happened in Columbus with the blowout Oklahoma, great win, but they also suffered a loss later on.
Two teams that have a 0 at the end of their record, Miami and Wisconsin. How do they view that 0? How do they view these teams? Wisconsin and Miami, we look at them a little differently. Miami's kind of hanging on by a thread game after game. Wisconsin really hasn't played anyone. So how does the committee view the 0 at the end of the record?
I'm curious to see where Notre Dame starts out in all of this. I feel like that's been a real hot topic for all of us talking about it the last couple of weeks. Can they make the playoff? And if they win out and they do, 2 Power 5 champions more than likely left out.
Notre Dame's a team whose resume, I think, continues to get stronger, but we've only seen 2 teams play 12 games in a regular season and reach the playoff. Oklahoma did it 2 years ago. Ohio State did it last year. Could Notre Dame be the third?
And all of us are curious about this because, a reminder, as is our custom, we don't see the rankings until you do. Only the people who are making sure that the graphic appears on the screen knows what it looks like right now. Kirk Herbstreit is with us. Kirk, same question to you. What are you most interested in seeing with these first rankings?
I agree with Jesse about Notre Dame. I think they're the wild card here, and I can't wait to see what the committee thinks about their only loss up to this point, of course, against Georgia. The other thing is what Joey said is a great point about Ohio State and Oklahoma head-to-head. Oklahoma has that kind of as a trump card, but right now, because of the way not only losing to Iowa State, they haven't necessarily played their best football over the last 4 weeks, so you wonder if that trend in the direction that they're going may hold them behind Ohio State in the committee's eyes, only to potentially catch up to Ohio State maybe down the road. And the last thing, Reese, is people get really excited and really nervous when the first rankings come out. 2 of the 3 years that we've had the playoffs, teams have come off the beaten path. Ohio State did in 14. Oklahoma did it in 15, where they were way back. Who might be the team this year that could maybe be a little bit off the radar, but still could have a chance to navigate their way and eventually maybe get up there into the top 4?
Yeah. And we'll talk about all of that. A reminder now of what the selection committee criteria is. Now, this is how they use to rank teams, and it's how they separate teams that they view as comparable. As an example, they obviously didn't view Ohio State and Penn State as comparable last year, but these are things they evaluate and factor into it. Conference championships, nobody has those yet, obviously. Strength of schedule, head-to-head, common opponents. I like the other relevant factors. Things that we think are important.
Which uniforms they wore.
Exactly. Now, it's probably not that. Let's start having a look at some of the rankings right now. We'll start number 25 through 21, the college football playoff rankings brought to you by All-State Wazoo, hanging in there, Michigan State at 24.
And what about Arizona all of a sudden creeping into 22? Much different team since Khalil Tate has taken over at quarterback. Keep your eye on the Wildcats.
They're now bowl eligible and maybe eligible to take control of the Pac-12 South. What about going in 20 through 16 now? LSU, which has Alabama on Saturday night, and Mississippi State sitting at 16.
I think it's important to look right now. We see LSU is going to be ranked below Auburn, even though LSU beat Auburn. So maybe that's just a glimpse into the committee's mind with this head-to-head thing we're talking about.
You have to factor in 30-point losses and losses to Troy, too. I mean, that has to count.
I mean,
doesn't it?
Yeah, but Mississippi State is going to matter also to Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
The fact that they're ranked, LSU being ranked. Some of these teams being ranked right now will matter to that resume of the top 4 or 5 teams in the country.
Mississippi State also has a couple of blowout losses on the resume, but those are the only losses that the Bulldogs have. Let's keep climbing through these college football playoff rankings. The first one, looking at the first time. Here are the 2-loss teams, and if memory serving top of the head, Auburn would be the highest ranked 2-loss team. The loss lead against LSU and the 1-possession loss at Clemson, and the Tigers with huge opportunity, I think, in the future, with still Georgia and Alabama on the regular season resume, and if things fall right, maybe a second meeting with Georgia.
Yeah, and I keep thinking about, what does it matter to Clemson? Because their resume will need Auburn on it. And then you think about Georgia gets their shot, Alabama gets their shot. And I keep thinking those 2 teams, what happens when they beat Auburn? But you're right. What happens if Auburn beats those 2 teams? Yeah. This thing flips.
What about Iowa State all of a sudden climbing into the top 15? This is a very good team. And it was a loss Oklahoma had that at the time seemed very bad. That loss now starting to look a lot better now. Big 12, too, tons of parity, guys, and Iowa State could be the team that blows it all up.
No doubt. And what about Virginia Tech having an opportunity, especially if they can continue to win, an opportunity to go against the Clemson to avenge that loss, maybe in an ACC title game? The Hokies look in pretty good shape there at 13.
I think the Hokies are probably that team that Kirk was talking about a minute ago as a potential sleeper because of the opportunities. One more word on Iowa State, Kirk, as we go there, too. Think what would happen if Iowa State had been able to hold on against Iowa. They'd be sitting there with 1 loss instead. Who is the team you see in that group that is that potential sleeper team that you were talking about?
You alluded to it, and it's just because the opportunity in the games that they still have to play. I mean, everybody wants to talk, especially Chris Felica, the Bear, about these 2-loss potential teams at the end, maybe having a shot for this year for the first time, having a shot to get into the 4. How about Auburn? with what they have in front of them, the big game with Georgia that everyone's almost assuming that we're already talking about, okay, Georgia, Alabama, undefeated in Atlanta. What happens if Georgia loses a close game? Auburn's sitting there saying, aren't they coming to Jordan-Hare? I mean, we still get to play them, right? So Auburn, if they somehow were able to knock off Georgia and Alabama, sitting there with 2 losses, I think Auburn is still a team that's thinking about trying to surprise some people, and they're definitely in striking distance if they're able to get a couple big wins late in the year.
You know, I think what's funny about all this too, and when you look at games and we look at wins and losses throughout the entire process of all this, I think you have to lend perspective to games. That's what's really great about the selection committee, in my opinion, looking at all this. For instance, people will look at Alabama right now, way down the road, and say, you know, in terms of a resume standpoint, not probably as strong as some of the other teams that we anticipate being in the top 4, but the win against Florida State week 1 was more impressive than Boston College's win against Florida State this past week, right? And I think that's something that there's so many different factors when we evaluate throughout this course. And we just saw all the different factors that the selection committee is looking at throughout this entire process. It's so much more complex and intricate than the old system in the BCS. And that's one thing that I love about this unique system, with 13 different people taking a look at it every week. It leaves so much out for chance and debate.
You know, the thing, it cracks me up. I hear people all the time say, oh, I want consistency. They didn't like consistency. And we had a formula and it just spit out the answer with the BCS.
I like consistency.
Well, there's nothing more consistent than a formula. You didn't like that?
No. I was fine with the formula. I don't like...
I like the human.
You know what? I like when they act like humans.
Let's get to number 10 here and see who's
not all the time.
Of course. What are you talking about? Miami, one of the few remaining teams in the Power 5 conference, is unbeaten. In fact, we're down to Alabama, Georgia, Miami out of the ACC.
Undefeated
out
team
of
at number 10.
How about that? And Wisconsin still undefeated too. See where they are. Miami's number 10. Who's at number 9? It is Wisconsin. Yes. So now you know what those zeros mean, right?
No doubt. I think the committee has looked at the tape and said, you know what? Wisconsin hasn't played anyone. Miami is squeaking by game by game. They don't value the zeros maybe as much as the 2 teams do.
Zero's a good thing. You get credit for that, but they're still going to have to prove themselves. Miami's got big opportunities in the next 2 weeks.
Yes, they do.
Got Virginia Tech, got Notre Dame coming up. Wisconsin might have to wait until the Big Ten championship game. They do have Michigan.
And that may be Wisconsin's only point.
Michigan is hurting Wisconsin, to be honest with you. Michigan not being the team that we thought they were going to be is hurting Wisconsin, because as we looked at Wisconsin's schedule, everyone thought, well, they'll have a really good Michigan team later on, and then the Big Ten championship game, and that's no longer there.
Let's look at number 8, just ahead of the Badgers. TCU just suffered its first loss of the season at the hands of Iowa State. So the Horned Frogs, not as damaging as it could have been, perhaps, depending on how things fall in the Big 12, a chance to atone for that loss in a Big 12 championship game if they can get there. They still have a trip to Oklahoma coming up in the next few weeks. At number 7, just ahead of TCU, Penn State let an 18-point lead get away. Now, the big question I think that people have, could the same thing that happened last year happen this year? Team that loses the Ohio State-Penn State game, doesn't get to the Big Ten championship game, still get the playoff. Penn State needs everybody to lose a bunch in front of them because they don't have a marquee win on the resume.
And they need Michigan State to win, which they just got knocked off by Northwestern. And so that starts to hurt teams like Penn State and their ability to come back from this. Is when Michigan State loses, when Michigan's not as good as they look, then that resume just starts to get a little shaky.
Herbie, what do you think? Do you like the fact that the committee didn't get stuck on the 0 in the loss column? They've got Wisconsin and Miami at 9 and 10.
I think that's the aspect for a lot of the fans that aren't following it and maybe been privy to the information that we all are, sometimes gets very confusing. Wait a second, they haven't lost a game. How come they're behind teams with 1 loss? And I think that's what the entire mission statement of this committee really is. It's not necessarily to just look at the Art Briles way of saying, hey, I'm undefeated, I dare you to keep me out. They're looking at teams that have been challenged and teams that have 1 loss, and maybe they look at them still being a better team through 8 weeks than a team that has not been tested like a Wisconsin or a Miami. So I applaud the committee for doing that. I think it's, again, confusing and a mixed message for people that don't follow it religiously the way we do. I do want to just touch on one thing about Penn State. All you guys are right. Ohio State had Oklahoma last year as their trump card, the way Oklahoma has it this year. Penn State doesn't have that. They don't have that non-conference conference win. If you look within the Big Ten and who they still have to play, the best thing that Penn State can do is blow people out. Because if you go by the numbers and you look at the different comparisons, they will lose almost all of those arguments. So the best thing that they can do is blow people out by 40 or 50 points if they can. And just the committee at the end of it, a lot of people lose ahead of them. The committee has to look at each other and just say, Penn State's one of the best four. The resume doesn't say it, but they're one of the best four. That's Penn State, in my mind. That's really their only hope at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think really that is the committee's charge, is to get the best four. Now, being in the first four the first week doesn't guarantee you much of anything. No more than 2 have made it in the 3 years of the playoffs. So college football playoff, top 25. Let's go right at the top. I think we know who it's going to be. One of the 2 SEC teams. It is Georgia. Georgia has a better marquee win than Alabama. Let's look at number 2. It's going to be Alabama, right? 2? It is. So 1 and 2, Alabama. Register your level of surprise.
Not so surprised, because Georgia has a better resume. I think both pass the eye test. Both people blow everybody out. And when I was talking about perspective wins, when Georgia beat Mississippi State 31-3, that was very impressive. Mississippi State at the time was unbeaten. They had just smashed LSU. So that was all. We talked about the Notre Dame win. That was big. There are other little wins that I think are feathers in the hats as well.
Well, and not surprised at all. And this tells me that the committee is looking at the tape and watching, because throughout the season, these 2 teams have been the 2 best teams when you turn the tape on, playing game in and game out. They're handling their business.
When
so
you
I like
look at the tape, Boog, and say watching, are you telling me when you watch Alabama, Georgia play, you're telling me you think Georgia's a better team than Alabama? I understand resume. I understand that they're not going to give them a lot of credit for beating Alabama. But when I watch these 2 teams play on tape, I do not feel as if Georgia is better than Alabama.
We'll get to that in just a minute. I want to show you number 3. That is exactly as it should be. I could not be in more agreement with the committee with having Notre Dame number 3, with the schedule they play, the wins they have, the 1-point loss to number 1. They deserve it.
And the way they look right now, the way they looked against USC, the way they looked against NC State, and I had them at number 3 in my own poll, even though, Reese, I didn't want to give you credit, and I said I was sleeping on them early. They woke me up. And to be honest with you, I don't know how far Wimbush can take him with his arm. He is starting to throw some touchdown passes. I just don't know if he can get him over the top if he has to.
But the style of play that they have, they understand who they are. They have the best offensive line in football, and they run the football. Wimbush doesn't have to do a lot. He's only going to have to make 2 or 3 key passes a game. And if he does that, Notre Dame has a formula, Joe, they can win.
Are there 3 more physical teams ever in the top 3 than these?
Slobber knockers.
All of that, spread them out. Around these
exactly.
907 drill, downhill.
Let's look at number 4. Who's sitting in 4?
All right.
The Clemson Tigers. Only the loss to Syracuse, the extenuating circumstance of Kelly Bryant being injured. So we have Clemson at number 4. Who's just behind at number 5? Oklahoma. So valuing the head-to-head, so that leaves Ohio State. So the Buckeyes are going to be sitting at number 6. All right, let's look at the comparative stats with Clemson, Oklahoma, and Ohio State in terms of the resume stats. Strength of record is a measure of how well you have done against your record relative to the average top 25 team. Clemson is 3rd ahead of the other 2. The strength of schedule, Clemson's significantly better. Top 25 wins. And in fact, if you go by FPI and go into the top 40, Clemson has 6 wins against the top 40 of the FPI. That's more than anybody. And, of course, the loss to Syracuse, the only blemish on their resume. So, Kirk, well, what are your thoughts right here in terms of head-to-head, carrying the day, at least for the moment, and stacking up Oklahoma and Ohio State with Clemson in 4th?
You could make a strong argument for everything that they've been able to put up on the board. A couple things. Number one, I'm with Joey. I don't know, Reese, you and Felica know Vegas, but if Bama, and eventually maybe we see undefeated Bama in Georgia, I'm guessing Bama's favored by 6 or 7 points.
10.
I have no idea.
10 is what the Vegas
10 points, my bad. There we go.
Leave it to Reese.
And to me, it doesn't matter. Let those 2 teams keep doing what they're going to do. The great thing is you'll be able to see them play potentially in Atlanta, especially if they're both unbeaten. What it does potentially do is, if that's a close game, and the goal here is to put the 4 best teams into this thing at the end, it's really hard to look at Georgia if they run their schedule, they go 12-0 and lose a close game to Alabama and say, oh, sorry, you lost to Alabama, you're out. To me, if this thing holds up and you have potentially Georgia and Alabama there deserving of being the top 4 teams, and you have Notre Dame And they went out there. Think about what they still have left to do. They have Stanford. They have, of course, Miami, Navy, Wake Forest. If they're out there, they're in at 11-1. Now that's the chaos that everybody wants, because you'd have 2 from the SEC and Notre Dame. And now there's one spot for the Big 12 and the ACC and the Big 10 and the Pac-12. That's the chaos that I think a lot of people would be very excited to see at the end.
And Kirk, I've been a guy that has not believed in getting 2 teams from one conference in, but I believe Georgia being at #1 in this initial poll opens that door a little bit wider. I agree. Alabama would be favored. I mentioned it when I watch them both play. I think Alabama's the better team by eye test, but the committee's going by resume. So if Georgia adds Auburn to their resume later on and goes to place Alabama close, I do not see how someone else passes them up resume-wise if you start them this high on what they've done so far.
Well, no doubt, and I think I agree with you. And we're talking about getting 2 teams from the SEC. Really, the only way that happens, in my opinion, is if Georgia loses the SEC championship game, because they have that Notre Dame victory. If Alabama loses that game, which is something we're not talking about, we keep assuming Georgia will lose. Let's say Alabama loses that game. I don't think Alabama would have the resume based on that big-time win, because we're devaluing the Florida State win early in the season. I don't think the SEC could get 2 in at that point.
It was interesting what you were saying earlier. And I want to ask you guys this. When you guys put these top 4s together in your mind, do you play out in your mind what would happen if 2 teams played each other on the field? You talked about Alabama playing Georgia.
Yeah.
See, I do the same thing.
Absolutely. Right. That's why I'll never get on the committee.
Okay.
and when I say I want them to act like humans, that's the stuff I'm talking about.
I do the same thing.
Think about this played out.
And that's why, in my mind, I don't have Notre Dame right now in my top 4. And Notre Dame, to me, checks 3 huge boxes.
Hold on, Reese going to come over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I got him right now. You say that again about Notre Dame.
They check 3 big boxes in my mind. One of the most physical teams in the country. Right. They pass the eye test.
Yep.
The resume, if they win out right now, it'll be as good as any one-loss team at the end of the year. Yep. And they have a phenomenal loss.
Okay.
Having lost by 1 point, right, to Georgia. But if I put them on the field right now against Ohio State right now, or I put them on the field right now against Clemson right now, I don't think Notre Dame would win that game.
I'm scared to say that because I thought that against USC. Right. I thought that against NC State. And not only did they win, they ran them over. And so I was the guy when Reese originally brought this up, was like, Wimbush can't throw the ball, there's no chance.
Well, that's the question I didn't think they could run people over. I don't know if that's been answered.
Yeah, but that's the same question about Jake Fromm at Georgia. I didn't think that Notre Dame could run people over. They have run them over on offense and defense.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're very physical. I think they're developing in the passing game. Kirk, you hear what these guys are saying. How do you look at it in terms of evaluating who you think would win the game? You use that as a big part of your evaluation?
And I think, a lot of people look at the metrics. They look at the offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency. What Jesse is saying, I think that's more of kind of the eye test, and just looking subjectively, if this team played that team, who do I think, based on watching every single week, most of these teams every down, who do we think would win? I think that's fair. It's really up to how you personally evaluate these teams. I thought Booger made an interesting point, because we do just kind of assume, you're right, Booger, that, okay, if Alabama beats Georgia close, Georgia should still be in the playoff. And you're saying if it's the other way, Bama would be out because of the resume. That's where I would come in, and I would say, again, the goal is to put the best 4 teams. And if Bama lost a close game, should we really penalize Alabama, even though they don't have the resume? But we do have our eyeballs, and we do watch this team play. Are they not one of the top 4 teams just because they lost to Georgia in a bonus round SEC championship game? I'm not going by resume, because you're right. If you're on resume and who they have beaten and all that, then maybe they are on the outside. But if we're looking at it objectively and saying they're a really good football team, I don't know how you would still leave them out of the top 4 if they lost a close one.
Yeah, Kurt, I hear what you're saying, and what it's going to come down to in my mind is people are going to have in that room are going to have to sit back and evaluate what's important to them. Is the strength of schedule important? Is the top 25 wins important? Like when you get in that room, in that scenario, Alabama having 1 loss, because their resume is not going to stack up maybe with a Notre Dame. It's not going to stack up with some of the other 1-loss team, maybe a Clemson, because Clemson September was historic. 3 top 15 wins in September. Nobody had ever done that.
It's getting shaky.
Yeah, it's Louisville now.
I understand it's getting shaky, but at the time, it was historic. Yep. And so when you start comparing resumes, I just think Alabama will be in a dicey situation in that.
I agree with you. I think the resume would be there. there, but I agree with Kirk also. You can make a reasonable judgment that Alabama would still be among the 4. Georgia might have the case in both hands in terms of being one of the best 4 from the eye test and the resume. Not really unusual at all to see a couple of SEC teams get out of the gate and be ranked in the top 4. In fact, we've had it pretty much every year in the first year of the college football playoff. This year, with it being Georgia having its highest ranking ever in the college football playoff era. Previously, it was 9. Alabama and Texas A&M last year, LSU and Alabama in 15, and then in 14, both teams from the state of Mississippi and Auburn were in the first one, but nobody has ever made it, or no more than 2 teams have ever made it out of the first 4, the first rankings of the top 4 into the college football playoff. So you know, basically among these 4 teams, history would tell you that a couple of them will not be around when selection Sunday.
Say something else bad about Notre Dame.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's good that you guys are on that side of it.
I'm not going to get bad for you.
My brother played there. I'm a big Notre Dame fan.
But you just took them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, you just said they don't even deserve it.
Yeah, exactly.
But is there anything short of another Oklahoma loss that would change your mind about that head-to-head 2-touchdown victory that Oklahoma had against Ohio State that would let you flip them if they had the same record?
For me, it's just how they're playing. Understand this: when Oklahoma went into the Horseshoe and beat Ohio State, that was 52 days ago. Okay, I've lost 15 pounds since then. That's how long that's been, Reese. Okay, so for me, when I look at that,
turn around, you'll find them.
No,
they're behind you.
So listen, for me, that's an age, and I look now at how the teams are playing football. Okay, I think we all agree. Oklahoma's defense is not playing the same. Their defense is going down here. Ohio State's offense has ascended. And so I think we have to understand, we're all going to look at the elephant in the room, the head-to-head. I think the committee is going to pay attention to how the teams are playing.
If Ohio State played Oklahoma right now in Norman, I bet Ohio State wins by 14.
I would say 14.
I would favor Ohio State, though.
I'm going to tell you something. I saw that game. I agree. There is nothing that happened that night that would make you think that Oklahoma would lose to them by 14. Is Baker Mayfield, does he get to play in that game?
He gets to play in that game.
Okay, well, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Baker can't play corner.
Their defense played just fine. All right, Kirk, give me a question. I saw Baker Mayfield play that game. Boom, right in the middle of that O.
I saw it.
Hey, number one, Booger, you've never looked better, man. 15 pounds an hour. I don't know how you look good, man. You look good. It's interesting. The AP has Oklahoma at 9. This kind of helps fans understand how the committee evaluates things differently than the AP. They weigh things differently. Oklahoma all the way up at 5. They did look at that head-to-head, but Booger, you're exactly right. Head-to-head's one thing. Oklahoma has everything in front of them. Oklahoma State this weekend. They still have TCU. They still have big games, Big 12 championship games. So they'll have an opportunity to be able to kind of validate that they're up at number 5 right now. But they got to start playing better defense. Forget the rankings. They just need to win games and play better defense because Baker Mayfield is going to score points.
I'd just like to tell you as an AP voter that the top 6 of the committee rankings look exactly like my ballot. Wow. All right, here we go. I'm a little terrible. Okay, pat myself on the back. But actually, I always say we're supposed to tell the committee what they should do. Thanks for listening, guys. All right, here's how the playoff teams of the first 3 years of the playoffs started in the initial rankings. First 2 years had somebody coming from way off the pack with the Buckeyes who won the title and Oklahoma who lost in the semis last year, the lowest ranked team to make it. The Buckeyes at number 6. College football playoff top 25. We're off to a great start. Brian Kelly is number 3. Now, he says every week's a playoff. What does he think now that his team is getting the respect and is in the top 3? Kirby Hocutt is the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. We'll talk to him about what the most interesting and disputed points were in that room as they put out their first rankings.
Well, it's been a busy day of college football. Let's get caught up on the action. First up, Alabama. This play right here shows what eating chicken will do for you. Lots of broken tackles here. It's the chicken.
No idea what you're talking about.
Joey Galloway is here with chicken predictions.
My what?
Touchdown chicken.
Okay, are we filming right now?
Chicken.
What is going on?
I don't know. Oh, that was weird.
No management. Start your game day with the new hash brown scramble bowl from Chick-fil-A.
Hi, I'm the one clocking in when you're clocking out, sensing your every move and automatically adjusting to help you stay effortlessly comfortable. There. I can also help with this. Does your bed do that? Oh, I don't actually talk, though I'm smart enough to. I'm the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. That's new at a Sleep Number store.
From our laser-measured floor liners, Bump Step XL, No Drill Mud Flaps, and Tech Liner for your bed and tailgate, your truck is ready for the game. Take your tailgate to the next level with complete vehicle protection from WeatherTech. Check out our full line of premium automotive accessories at WeatherTech.com. WeatherTech, made right in America.
Cavs, Wizards at 7. Celtics Thunder at 9:30. Friday on ESPN.
Universal Technical Institute is now training students for future positions in the transportation industry. If you have a passion for putting machines to the test, UTI is ready for you with over $15 million in sponsored scholarships this year. We build our programs with the leading names in the business, so you can learn the professional skills you need in classrooms like these. Visit uti.edu and find out about programs, campuses, and financial aid. Contact us today to enroll.